Welcome everyone to our live stream. Today is Saturday, October the 16th, and we are going to be talking about burnout in the workplace and how meditation can absolutely assist you. We're going to be discussing what exactly is burnout in the workplace and how, as individuals, we can take the rem by the hand. What does that mean? The bull by the horns is what I mean to say. Not really making much sense already. And we're then going to have a little group meditation, and you can find out further about how to get a technique that is self-sufficient and that will absolutely give you deep rest. So everything, we're checking that things are going live here and we are going to get started. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Paula Jane Newman. I am the founder of Aware Meditation Inc., a nonprofit based in the United States, but to go global to bring underrepresented groups meditation in their communities. I'm pleased to say we had our first teaching this week in the Los Angeles area. And if you want to find more about that, you can absolutely contact us or go on to our mailing list, which you can find the links in the description after the live stream. So burnout in the workplace. I was moved today to bring this topic to attention as I discovered as I was going through that the burnout in the workplace has not diminished as a result of COVID. In fact, it has increased. According to the World Health Organization in 2019, this is prior to the COVID pandemic, they listed this as a phenomenon. And I'm going to, it's called the Burnout Epidemic, in fact. And we want to find out exactly what is happening. Why are people having so much burnout? As a result, in COVID, it didn't lessen. Strangely enough, you'd think many people working from home, not having to deal with the commute, actually have found more people are leaving their employers. They choose not to work for them. They are starting up their own enterprises, and only 4% of individuals are leaving their employer simply due to monetization. So what is this workplace burnout? Well, this is where individuals are experiencing anxiety, mental health issues as a result of their jobs, and long term, the stress causes illness. And in I believe 2019, it was reported that 2.8 million deaths were related to work-related stress. Those of you who have watched our channel, and those of you who haven't, I invite you to check out the Cosmic Chats, one with Nishi Excel, who came from Pakistan. She talks about how she worked in her job and she was written out by her doctor to go on stress leave because it was making her sick. We also have a chat with Holly, and you'll see that there. It has big letters how a six-figure income did not bring her happiness, and she was written out on stress leave as well. So the burnout, how can we seem to be having burnout when we have more tools and technology at our hands, and yet stress levels are increasing, mental health issues are on the rise, which includes anxiety, depression, apart from anything that may already be there medically, but are related to the lack of wanting to go to work for a paycheck. How is this becoming such an epidemic that people are choosing to now leave their jobs and start up on their own? And how can you help yourself, even though there are all these wellness programs, be able to adapt without getting sick? First of all, when we want to talk about work-related stress, we have to understand the umbrella of stress is far broader than maybe how and when you grew up. If you're an individual who is Gen Z, which means you may just start of the tail end is going to college right now, you have been categorized as one of the most stressed generations yet. However, we see individuals on games, on their phones, seemingly not at the effect of stress. However, it statistically has shown they are more at the effect of stress, and more mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and suicide are on the rise. Having these tools, this technology at our forefingers, actually has changed the expectations in regards to our availability and our ability to work. So when a message is sent maybe at midnight, in one time zone, as we are more of a global community, it is expected the other individual on the other end, no matter where their time zone is, responds within a certain time frame. These have absolutely broken down boundaries, so we are a more united global consciousness. However, what has not been taken into account with many businesses is having an individual's wellness, knowing that they are in effect working twice as much. They're working in the time zone with the people that they are having to communicate with, and they're also working in their own time zone. This absolutely means that there is a depletion of rest. If we have a work environment where you're sort of on and off for a 24-hour period, there is no place where the mind is able to absolutely restore and get that deep rest. This is causing long-term burnout. So the mini breaks that maybe people have, take a weekend here, take time off, or even companies that now begin to have a vacation or holiday period, which is you take as much time as you want whenever you want. The issue is there's an expectation, the unspoken word that you don't want to take too much time off. You might find that job disappears. So rather than this becoming a wonderful option for people to download, unwind, and absolutely de-stress, it becomes an environment where people are walking on eggshells. Really, should I take that time off? How much time should I take off? The other issue is coming back to the workforce. The work is still there. The work is still there. And when the work is there, this means that you have not relieved yourself. All you've done is added more stress when you've gone to vacation. So people stop going on vacation or holidays. They decide it's not worth the trouble. I want to keep my job. The other aspect when it's coming to stress in the workplace is how people are treated. During the pandemic, and we started to experience new realms of being fired, new realms of visiting people in their pajamas. Some people were even in the bathroom at times, and this has actually caused more stress. The idea of going to work and coming home has completely shifted. So individuals knowing that they're spending this amount of time having to adapt and be in a workplace working for someone else, figure, why not? Why don't I start on my own? And this comes down to a further issue, someone's voice not being heard, not being recognized, believing that I'm not feeling that there is purpose in what I'm doing. I'm not feeling that I'm making a difference. COVID-19 absolutely brought about a requirement to go inwards and look at oneself and what we're doing, and maybe, hopefully, philanthropically, individuals will be more inclined to make the world a better place. If we look at caregivers, the rise that happens with injuries regarding, I would say injuries, I say health and wellness, for not only physically taking care of other people, we're talking about doctors and nurses, individuals that are on the front lines there, but the mental stress, the anguish of dealing with people who are sick, who are dying, with a pandemic. That mental anguish we all saw on videos. We know that it's out there, possibly causing PTSD now as a result of the pandemic. That is causing more people to want to leave the medical field altogether. A field where we have research and information about taking stress leave, about taking those breaks. Yet the individuals that are pulled towards those professions often feel that they can't. How can we take those breaks? And what we have here is a work consciousness that is not providing the environment that it is essential to be able to have that break, to have that mental break during a profession. We can also see this when we deal with people who are in all forms of service, whether it's the fire brigade or the police or, again, emergency services, dealing with individuals, human beings, and understanding that the systems can only go so far. So what happens here with this burnout is this issue is it's continuing to go down more than it's really a pandemic of how do we actually change the consciousness of the collective that it's okay to take time. It's okay to have mental health. It's okay, but on an individual basis, we may feel that we are completely powerless, which would make sense as to why so many individuals are leaving the workplace. So we've also found out that when they have implemented a wellness program, such as maybe, yoga comes in for a week, or a one-off seminar on meditation, the statistics have proven, I can't speak today, the statistics have proven that it's not beneficial either. People long term don't continue to do this. And why is that? It's because there is not a learning where it's going to be integrated as a healthful practice, a long term practice. It is seen as secondary, not primary. Those of you who are joining us who are practitioners of Vedic meditation will have taken a course over 4 sessions, over 4 days, with a teacher that's right in front of your face. That's right, not over the internet. And you would have started a habit and taken a beginning information session on how to do a practice that will actually not only have your body gain 2 to 5 times more deep rest than sleep, what? By sitting down comfortably in a chair. We will also then have the support to continue that practice. And as time comes on, it will start to remove that stress and will start to bring in a shift in one's consciousness. And when one has that ability, there is the time and the ability to then take the meditation. What does that mean? Well, how many times do we say we don't have time? And how many times have I said the word time in the last sentence? Time. We don't have time. We're under the lash of time. How often have you been on social media and it's got sucked up? How often do we stare out into space, or we're doing a task that we're not really moving forward on? We know it needs to get done, but we're not efficient with it. This is because we aren't able to be completely present in what we're doing. This is because we don't take the time to walk away and come back. In fact, when people spend additional time in the workplace or strained, we have problems relating to eyesight. We have a generation now, the Generation Z, are more individuals having eyesight assistance than any other before. This is long-term looking at a screen, being pulled in, and then physically like this, looking at the screen. I myself, those who have read the story of my history, and if you haven't, you can check out Vedic Meditation Stories. It's a free ebook if you have Amazon right now, and you'll hear that I got hurt working in an office, doing filing and on the computer, even when I had all of the ergonomic capabilities. During this live stream, there are going to be 3 20-minute intervals, and the rule of 20-20-20 is after 20 minutes, you go and you look away at 20 feet, an object, for about 20 seconds to help restore the eyes. These are practices that are put in. These are the wellness officers that come in. However, the consciousness of the collective in the workspace is it needs to get done. It needs to get done. I'm going to lose my job. And as a result, people are finding themselves at doctors' offices. They're unhappy. They're more subject to depression because during the pandemic, we're not only experiencing more grief because of the loss of life during this, but also possibly grief of how they expected their lives to be as a result of dealing with the pandemic and looking inwards. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a little light meditation. What is that? Well, for those of you who have Vedic meditation, you'll know for a fact that you don't get to learn that simply by doing it over the internet. You're not going to get through osmosis what I get, but what you are going to find is time right now, 20 minutes, to simply close your eyes and allow yourself to have your mind wander. We're going to be doing a letting go practice. It's not a concentration technique. It's not an active doing practice. These are all wonderful, valid techniques. What we're doing is learning how to go inward. And when we start to let go and we can go inward, we can begin to listen to our own intuition. We can listen to our next, probably great, amazing idea to make the world a better place and take the pressure off of ourselves. I'm going to bring everyone in. We're going to do 20 minutes. If you're a Vedic meditation practitioner, go ahead, start yourself off when I say, and I'll bring you out. If you're not, no problem. Simply enjoy the 20 minutes of closing your eyes and allowing your mind to wander and drift. And if any thoughts come up, it doesn't matter if you think that they're negative or not. That's not the challenge right now. Simply have yourself sitting comfortably in the chair and enjoy it. All right, we're going to start our 20 minutes right now, and I will bring us out. those of you who do our practice, you're going to let go of your sound. And those of you who are joining us, we're going to take a couple of more minutes before we slowly open our eyes. Ooh, we can stretch a little bit. Did you hear that? That was my shoulder cracking. What? And whenever you're ready, we're going to come back by slowly opening the eyes. So we do it slowly because those of us who still have sight, the light that comes in down through the optic nerve can be somewhat jarring. And if it is jarring, what happens is that creates a sense of that's good. It creates a sense of alarm. And so our system very subtly begins to transition into a fight or flight state. I'm in my meditation and I feel good, and then I go into a fight or flight stage when I come out of meditation. That's not really the goal. The goal is to transition so we feel very calm and we can bring in to the waking state that deeper sense of connectivity. So our physiology has got this rest. When we come to burnout in the workspace, are we getting deep rest that we need in order to adapt, whether it's mental, physical exhaustion? We all know if we ever go under an examination or a test that mentally we're quite exhausted, so the body is tired. If we have a practice where we're regularly getting deep rest for the physiology, it means that we're not continuing to go into depletion. We're actually beginning to restore. And if we do a regular practice, we are now regularly creating the switch to go off from the fight or flight into the parasympathetic, which is the relaxation state. This doesn't mean you're going to be like a zombie or no, not at all. There is an alertness that can happen while we are in waking state that doesn't require our system to be in fight or flight. When we are under stress, what occurs is long term, our adrenals are now set at a high level to cope with the stress. This means over time, we have created a habit of being stressed. When we do a practice that starts to bring us away from that habit, it doesn't always feel quite normal because we are not used to it. But when we have a regular practice, we do become used to it. And as a result, we are then able to be in a space where we don't have to be in fight or flight. Do you ever have any of those friends who are always creating drama? Maybe it's you. And you think, why are they always creating drama for themselves? That's because they don't feel comfortable unless there is some drama, or their adrenals are pumping out high, or their body is in a fight or flight state. So we want to do something more than have a temporary fix to something that is seeming as burnout. Yoga is great if someone is doing it regularly, right? Same with the meditation, but in this practice, your body gets that deep rest. So it automatically is restoring the physiology, right, from the burnout. So you're not going to go into depletion. And then when you learn over a series of sessions so that you start a habit, right? So the burnout is also associated with one's self-worth. I can't talk today. Self-worth, right? With the career that's at hand. We're going beyond paying the bills and the fight or flight necessities for shelter and food. But one's identity is associated with a particular path or achieving a certain place in that path, right? As time goes on, and if that path is not achieved, what happens is the anxiety, the mental wellness, it starts to believe the individual's self-worth is in relation to the attainment in the career. When we might look at someone else who doesn't have what we have, to them they wish what we had, but to us there's always someone to look for more. And this is a good part of consciousness. The ego gets us out of bed, has us moving forward. These are great experiences. However, when we equate the result having to be our self-worth, self-worth, F and THs today seem to be eluding my lips. When we are relying upon that for our self-worth, we find it does not fill us. So there then needs to be a space for us to reciprocate in kind practices that do boost the self-worth. Some people find it service, some people find it volunteering, working with other individuals. However, if you're in a field where that seems to be what you're doing all the time, there has to be an opposing activity to counter the activity that's doing your work. Work can be all-consuming if it is part of what we call in the Vedic worldview, your dharma, your path. You are integrating naturally and you are invigorated by what you're doing. If you're not invigorated by it and it continues to not be invigorating, it means that it's not fulfilling. It means that the effort to go in is depleting your soul. We understand bills have to be paid. How do you then prevent that from having work burnout? Absolutely, there has to be some way to change one's consciousness to know that either it's temporary or there is a practice that's going to help you be able to discern and shift what you're perceiving that position to be long-term and forever. When something is seen as temporary, most of the time, if it's a burden upon us, our burden is lifted. If we think of we're not going to be able to pay our bills as permanent, then that creates the burden upon us, right? Our fight or flight responses go in. So when we find that during the pandemic, we are not treated well, we are disrespected, we're not getting anything out of us, it's not making us make the world a better place, this is actually a beautiful experience to then start looking into how can we do this? How can we then pay the bills and have a position that makes us feel full? Well, the first thing to do is to start discerning what may that be? What could that be? When we get to a place of neutrality, which is what happens after we meditate, we come from a neutral standpoint. When we're there, we're then able to possibly see what's bubbling up at the surface. This is an element of what we call creative visualization. When we do creative visualization, we come from a place of neutrality. If you're not in neutrality, you are likely to be simply bringing up goals, ambitions for elements that are already not fulfilling you. So all that happens is this insatiable drive to continue to follow something that's not filling you up. If you want to learn more about this way of looking at creative visualization, and creative visualization is simply a tool to be able to put yourself in a place of where you would like to be. But the key is, what is that place that I'd like to be? Well, unless we get to a place of neutrality, we're not going to be able to begin to access that, because it's all in here. It's all deep, deep within us. How do we get the key to do that? So it's going to be down in the description if you want to join us. It's on Zoom, so you can join us internationally on November the 14th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which I believe is going to be, 6 o'clock in the UK. And those of you who can't participate but want to, you can contact me and we'll send you the recording. You'll be able to get some practical exercises and 2 key elements that are the secrets of doing this. The results of creative visualization are not only that you might find what you didn't know you were attracted to, but you're going to find that your light is lifer, life is lighter, light is lifer. What is going on with my articulation today? Life is lighter. You are going to find that life seems to be coming more towards you for what you're wanting or desiring without realizing it. And there is going to be less effort and less strain, which naturally means you're going to be doing less and accomplishing more. If you want to find out about the ebook of Vedic Meditation Stories, the link is down below. And if you enjoyed this group meditation, please check out the other live streams and please check out our cosmic chats. We hope that you've enjoyed the session today. And if you have any further questions, please go ahead and contact me from the email.